Hi guys, that was a fun class, thanks. Okay, so for this text set assignment, what I want us to think about is, like Courtney said, what is a text set? And then what does it mean to start to put one together ourselves? And so a text set is, like we talked about, right at the end of class today, a text set is a collection of texts that focus on some topic that the way I like to think about it, some like really focused topic that helps kids start to come up with a claim about something, and it really supports them as they're going to write a source-based piece of writing. It could be an essay, it could be the sentence strip argument, it could be layers of writing. I often like to follow that pattern that we worked through today. And so what we saw was that we started with an overview text. First, this should animals be kept in zoos, kind of looked at the whole issue, both the pros and the cons. And then we wrote a layer, right? And in fact, if we back up, first we started with an image that just kind of got us thinking. Sometimes I put words on the page, sometimes we have like our cartoon related to the topic or whatever it is, right? And we just kind of wrote our gut reaction. Then we added a layer with that overview article, and then we wrote, so now I'm thinking. And then we got to pick the pros and the cons, which side we wanted to read about. And then it wasn't really until that third layer of writing that we started to really talk back to the text in some kind of meaningful way. So like using the evidence from the text, and it was really informal, right? And then at the end is when we started to identify what our claim might be. And so it's really a powerful way. It's like a mini unit that might take 4 or 5 days. What we've done over the last couple of days of class around the Zoo mini unit might take 4 or 5 days. And it is a way that we can get small practice around single skills so that students can really start to get better at it. Because if we just have one big argument unit in the year, then kids never really get better at it. So I created this text set organizer that I've been using with teachers. And so you see here, when I think about creating a text set, I start in a couple of different ways. Sometimes I start with my standards and I have like a focus skill. So today's focus skill for this mini unit, or like what we've been doing, was really just about, I want students to be able to develop a claim and start to connect evidence to their claims. So that's what I would put here. And the content topic is just, should animals be kept in zoos? Possible search terms is if you start with a content topic, these are ways you might find text. And honestly, for this text set that I want you to do, I just want you to find 3 texts. You could always have more. I like 3 because it keeps the unit short, and I'm a really big fan of short units. And then this down here is just a way for you to compile your thinking. So you would list the text, you would list the genre. As often as possible, I like to include different genres. Some text details, like what's the perspective, what's the angle, who's the audience, like some details that might be helpful to you. And then I want you to be really purposeful in thinking about all these great reading strategies you've learned. What are you going to pair with that text? And so what are kids going to do while they read that text? And then this is just a note about complexity and grade level and that kind of thing. And then I want you to start to think about what are some possible claims kids might come up with. And this box is really just so that we don't just have a pro or a con, but that it's more nuanced than that, right? There's some gray area within this. And so that just kind of holds me accountable for that. And then there are these other kind of like checklist questions. And then, I don't know, just like notes to yourself as a teacher that you might want to think about. Like here, I usually write, oh, I want this article on yellow paper. I want this infographic on blue. I want this graphic organizer, to be digital or whatever. All right, so when you come to this link, you're going to go to File, and you're going to make a copy of this file and save it in your own drive. So you're going to make a copy and then add it to your own drive. And you can fill it out digitally, or you can fill it out, print it out first and then write in it. I don't care, but I want you to each bring a copy of this, of your own text set. So you might be thinking right now, okay, Angela, this sounds really cool, but where the heck, like how am I going to find text? So the first thing you're going to do is look at your standards, right? And probably look at those argument standards and think about what are some skills that you could hit. But then the second thing is that if you go to this link, where do I find text sets? You're going to see this page, and it's going to ask you to add this web mix. We're going to add it. And this is called a Symbaloo. And this Symbaloo is a collection of my favorite places where I go to look for text sets. So one of the places I really like to start is with Newsela. So this is a free resource, and it lets you look at lots of different kinds of texts. And it adjusts them for content or for Lexile levels. So if you want to differentiate, you're able to do that within this resource. But they also have this, it's not going to show it to me right now, but if you, and you might need to log in, it's a free account. So just create an account because you're going to use it all the time as a teacher. But there's a place where they have text sets. All of these are really great places where you can go to find articles that you might use for text sets. And one that isn't on here, and I'll add it, is KQED Do Now. That's where I actually got the zoo text, or started with the zoo text set. This Do Now collection has really interesting questions for kids. And then, okay, so do no-kill shelters really benefit animals? That would be kind of interesting. I could see some students really wanting to write about that. So there's an image right there that we could say, okay, what do we see? What do we think? What do we wonder? Or just what's your gut reaction looking at this dog, or whatever kind of strategy you know. And then there is like an audio of this article, or of a podcast about it. And then there's also this article right here that tells you kind of an overview of the issue. And then down here, there's more resources. So there's a website, Pets by the Number, so you can look at some data. Or there's another kind of like NPR story, like a commentary about it. And so there's a text set. And so then you just think about like, what's the order I want to put it in? What kind of strategies do I want kids to use? You can start to think about the instruction around those sites. Okay? So we're just going to try it out. I want you to see what you can do because, like I said in class today, I'd love for you to create something that you can use in your classroom when you go back to field. You don't have to do another LSA in field, but in the second round of field, but you do need to be doing some teaching. And so this is a great time for you to start to like build up an arsenal that you might be able to do with your students. Okay? All right, so as always, email me if you have any questions, and I will see you on Tuesday. All right, bye guys and girls.